those things we can see it as the pelvis, and the pelvis is having two inlet and outlet. So we can see these two things, that what we are showing, that is the sacrum part and that is the pelvic inlet, and below if you see, that is the pelvic outlet, but before that one, that is called the hip bone having the pelvic brim, and the below one is the pelvic outlet. So that hand where we are showing, that is the pelvic outlet, and just below that one lies the pelvic, just below that pelvic diaphragm lies the perineal organs. See, here you can see there is a curvature. You can see that curvature which is there, the pelvic brim, and here that is the obturator foramen. We can see that obturator foramen which has been present, and this obturator foramen is enclosed by a membrane. This membrane is called the obturator membrane. So this is completely covering that obturator foramen. Okay, so we can see that obturator foramen being covered by the obturator membrane. So this obturator membrane which is been covered by the obturator foramen, what we are going to see is the muscle attachment just over the obturator membrane. See, you can see that one. This is called as obturator internus. This is the obturator internus which is enclosing the complete obturator foramen. So before that foramen is completely covered by obturator muscle internus, it is covered by the obturator membrane. Now that is the origin part, that tail small part which you are going to see, that is the insertion part. It is going and inserting, right, where it is inserting the greater trochanter of the femur. So we can see the greater trochanter of the femur being attached by the tail part of the muscle, obturator internus muscle. Apart from these two, it is going in between two ligaments. You can see the two ligaments. These two ligaments are coming from greater sciatic foramen, as well as it is forming the lesser sciatic foramen. So in between these two, greater and lesser sciatic, what we are going to see, the obturator internus muscles attachment, right? We can see very clearly how the obturator internus muscle is attaching to the uh, greater trochanter, right? So apart from them, what else we can see? See, this is being divided. This, see, you can see the two ligaments which are coming, that is what sacrus going to the tumor, and this is the sacrum going to the spinous part of the ischial spine, right? So that is called sacrospinous and sacropubis ligaments, right? So on the both the sides we can see this one, sacrospinous, sacropubis. This is the spinous, that is the pubis, right? So we can see the two ligaments which are been attaching. So as a result, the greater foramen is formed and lesser sciatic foramen is formed. Those two foramens are formed. And in between this greater and lesser sciatic, you can see that the presence of the obturator internus muscle is going inside, right? So those two are going inside, and the remaining, see, now whatever it is left, that is called the pelvic diaphragm. Those two are the membrane. So you can see that the whole thing is the pelvic diaphragm. Pelvic diaphragm is consisting of two muscles, two set of muscles. One is called levator ani, another is a coccygeus. You can see the hand which is there, so it is forming like a cushion, right? It is forming like a cushion, like a tunnel it is forming. So let's see how these levator ani muscle and coccygeus muscle are going to be present. So it is forming like a cushion, and the pelvic diaphragm will separate the pelvic cavity from the perineum. Below is the perineum, right? So below what you can see is the perineum, and the remaining, the complete is the pelvic cavity. So within the pelvic cavity, the structures which are there, let's see how the structures are present. So we can see the structures which are there. So one is the, what we said already, the levator ani coccygeus, right? So we just saw the one muscle here, obturator internus. Now let's see the levator ani. It is having two parts. One is the pubo-coccygeus part, and another is iliococcygeus. So coccygeus is there. To the coccygeus, two muscles are going. One is going towards the pubis, another is going towards the coccyx, right? So pubococcygeus. So let's start about the pubococcygeus part. So in this one, once again divided, it is having three set of fibers. One is anterior, middle, and posterior fibers. So pubococcygeus, see, you can see this example where you can see that two set of muscle fibers are coming. One is the anterior, another is the middle fibers of the pubococcygeus. That is beautifully, you can see that is the anterior part. And you can also see that how is the anterior part is going to see that where it is present, pubic symphysis, near the pubic symphysis, this, yes, middle part of the pubic bone, right? That is the middle part of the pubic bone. We can see that the fibers are running, they are running here. Apart from them, you can also see that what you can see that middle part of the anterior one is the perineal body is present. So in between the cleft which is been present is nothing but the see, just beneath, before the perineal body lies the nothing but what we can see. In males it is called as the levator prostae, and female it is called as sphincter vaginae. So what it is going to tell is, if it is in male case, we will see prostate gland present. If it is in a female case, we will see the vagina presence, right? So basing on that one, the names were been given as the levator prostae and levator prostae is there, and as sphincter vaginae is there, right? The next one, what else is there? The middle fibers. In the middle fibers, see, you can see that middle fibers are running just adjacent to the anterior fibers, right? So we can say that they are starting from the lateral part of the pubic bone, lateral part of the pubic. See, you can see lateral part little bit away from the pubic symphysis, and they are covering the whole set of rectum. See, anorectal junction is the place where we can see, so that is the rectum part. So that is the rectum part, and it is covering, right? Pubococcygeus ligament, sorry, pubococcygeus muscle which is there, it is covering the rectum part of this rectum. So we can see middle fibers are covering this one, right? So middle fibers are other way, they are being present where, particularly between the junction of the rectum and anal canal. So very clearly we can see those two things, right? Next, what else we can see? The fibers which are there, they are the supporting fiber. They support it, right? That's why we call this one puborectalis, supporting or holding the rectum over here. We can see that it is holding the rectum. So we can see that how the junction is happening. Now let's see about the third set. So what here you can see, that is the obturator internus muscle. In the obturator internus muscles, what is happening is there will be in the middle part of it, there will be dense fibers are there, right? So you can see that is enclosed, but in the middle part, see, that is that white line is forming. See, you can see that white line, that is dense. At that particular junction, what we can see is a dense fascia is formed. So this dense is forming a white line. We call this one as white line. Okay, so here we can see the white line is formed, which is nothing but the condensation of fascia, which is very thickened part. So we can see those things. Now let's see the posterior fibers of pubococcygeus muscle. So in this one, you can see that hand which is shown, that is nothing but what we call as that is the origin of the, what we call, nothing but the posterior fibers of the pubococcygeus. So you can see that that is the coccygeus, right? That is coccygeal bone, and it is having a ligaments which are they called anococcygeal ligament. That green color one is anococcygeal ligament. So this is nothing but anococcygeal ligament. That is the yellow color one is the coccyx bone. Now what else we can see? These muscle fibers, now for posterior fibers which are there, that is anterior half of the white line is the origin part of it, right? This is the origin part, and going to the tip of the coccyx and anococcygeal ligament. So I told you that green color is the anococcygeal ligament and the tip of the coccyx. So that is the attachment, right? So it is going to attach to the anococcygeal ligament. So like this we can see anterior, middle, and posterior muscle fibers of pubococcygeus. So anterior formed the what had happened in male, it is called as the, it is going to the prostate. The in female, we can see it is covering the vagina. In the same way, middle one is covering the rectum, and also it is also being covered by posterior, also in covering the rectum, right? So you can see another one is the iliococcygeus muscle. So the posterior part of the white line and ischial spine, that is the ischial spine, you can see that beautiful ischial spine. This whole thing is the origin for the iliococcygeus ligament. So we can see this is the iliococcygeus ligament, where we can see that how it is originating and how it is inserting at the coccyx and anococcygeal ligament. So you can see that one also, anococcygeus ligament, attachment to the anococcygeal ligament. So we can see that attachment, right? So these two things we can see. See how it is attached now. So it is attached, you can see how is the origin, that is the origin, and this is the insertion, right? This is the insertion later on. That is a complete origin, and this is the insertion going towards the coccyx and the anococcygeal ligament. Okay. You can see very clearly that how the insertion is happening, right? So we can just recollect all those things, what they are going to do. They are very very important, because they are helping all the structures. And next one, we can also see coccygeus, right? Apart from this, you can see coccygeus muscle. So coccygeus muscle is the end one, so which is the origin for ischial spine and sacrospinous ligament. So sacrospinous ligament is attached over there. Insertion is going to the sacrum as well as the coccyx part. So you can see the last set, that is the coccygeus ligament. So coccygeus muscle. So you can see the coccygeus muscle insertion, right? Sacrum and coccyx. You can see that one. That too you can see how they are being attached, right? Completely attaching and adhering with the set of the muscles, levator ani muscles, right? Coccygeus too. So like this, you can see all this in the structures which are passing through the pelvic diaphragm. You can see that is the rectum, where it is enclosed by the middle fibers, as well as front is the perineal body, that green color one, and that where you are holding is the vagina or urethra. In male, it will be prostate, right? Instead of vagina, we will see prostate, and the front one will be urethra. Urethra and the prostate will be absent. So there we can see how these are enclosing. So they are, everything is this pelvic diaphragm is holding all these structures. So very very important, these all are holding the structures, particularly when there is any intra abdominal pressure is happening. So very very important, just remember, on the both the sides we can see the presence of these set of muscles. So they are going to help. See, like when we kept our hand, we can see that is a completely enclosed, right? So you can see the complete enclosure of all these things. So it is completely enclosed by this one. So as they are enclosed, what they are going to do, they are maintaining. So whenever there is an intra-abdominal pressure is present, like sneezing, coughing. So for all these cases, what will happen? If pressure had been increased, intra-abdominal pressure is there, what will happen? The structures get prolapsed. But not to get prolapsed, what these muscle fibers are doing is they are holding them very tightly. So there is no chance of uh, prolapse. At the same time, we can also see during the delivery, parturition, there are a lot of, in particularly second grade of delivery, pregnancy. What we are going to see is there will be a prolapse in the these pelvic diaphragm. But because of the presence of these muscles, so what they are going to do, they are not allowing for prolapse of the muscles. So these are the things, please remember. Thank you.